Your attention is lead. You definitely do not know that they are using alchemy on you 24/7 to harvest your energy. Your life force is being used to serve their purposes, to achieve their goals, to serve their gods. And all of this is happening whether you like it or not. Alchemy is an ancient branch of natural philosophy and proto-scientific tradition that was historically practiced in China, India, and the Muslim world, as well as Europe. In its Western form, alchemy is the first attest of numbers of pseudoscientifical texts written in Greco-Roman Egypt. Greek-speaking alchemists often referred to the craft as the art of knowledge, and it was written and characterized as mystic, sacred, and divine. When most people think of alchemy, they think of trying to turn lead into gold. And while this is one of the goals of alchemy in a more physical sense, alchemy is an entire philosophical and mystical tradition. The goals of alchemy vary, and one of the goals of alchemy is to transmute or change something into something else. And when it comes to the philosophical side of alchemy, it is about the alchemical transformation of the soul and of the self into a higher version of the self. Historically used in alchemy, it is the process of changing base metals into valuable ones, or metaphorically turning a common material into something of higher value. So while there was a physical aspect to alchemy, what typically happened is it transformed and turned into something that is metaphysical. Metaphysics is the branch of philosophy to understand the fundamental nature of reality, investigating questions beyond the reach of empirical science. Think of metaphysics as being something like trying to understand the nature of love, the nature of courage, the nature of faith or hope. It is these ideas that are metaphysical in nature. There's no physical structure to them. So while alchemy is in part the idea of taking lead and turning it into gold, it is also about the alchemical transformation of the self, trying to elevate the self into a higher state, a higher form of being. This process is called the beginning of the completion of the great work. In alchemy, the magnum opus, or great work, is a term for the process of working with the prima materia to create the philosopher's stone. It's been used to describe the personal and spiritual transmutation in the hermetic tradition to refer to laboratory processes and or color changes. Alchemy is a hermetic art. It is not hermeticism, but it is a hermetic art form. It is a practical application of hermetic philosophy. Hermeticism is the broad philosophical and spiritual tradition based on the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus. Alchemy is the practical experimentation and study of transformation using hermetic principles. This is where occultists get the idea as above, so below. As above, so below is a hermetic principle. It is the hermetic principle. As within, so without. As above, so below, etc., etc. It is a model for the individuation process and as a device in art and literature. Basically, they're trying to take primary materials and change them, transmute them into something higher, something greater. Now, there are 4 stages to completing the great work, and each of these steps refers to a specific color. There's black, white, yellow, and red. Black being death, white purification, yellow awakening, and red final unification. During the red or rubido stage is when the completion of the integration of opposites occurs. In classical alchemy, this is when you get the res bina, or the double thing. So the completion of the great work is the bringing together of two opposites. What are two things that are inherently opposite? Man and woman. Together, we get the rebus. The rebus is variably identified as the end product of the alchemical magnum opus, or great work. It is the combination of the male and female sexes into one being. This next part is very important. The role is sometimes associated with the primordial state of the world, or the prima materia. So the completion of the great work is combining opposites, an example being that of man and woman, which gives us the symbol of the rebus. This gets us back to the prima materia. And the prima materia, or first matter, is the ubiquitous starting material required for the alchemical magnum opus, the creation of the philosopher's stone, and the completion of the great work. It is the primitive, formless base of all matter, similar to chaos. Now, the word ubiquitous means everywhere. It's everywhere. It's in everything. So getting to the rebus gets us back to the prima materia, which is the basically formless matter of matters. It is the prime force, the prime material of reality itself. In order to get there, you have to practice the hermetic science of alchemy. So you take base materials, apply hermetic principles to them via the practical application of alchemy, going through the steps in order to get the philosopher's stone. Once you achieve the philosopher's stone by applying hermetic principles to base materials akin to lead, you will then get the rebus, the completion of the great work. The completion of the great work, aka the rebus, gets you to the prime materia, the prime matter that is akin or equal to chaos. The rebus is heavily associated with the principles of hermaphrodism, or the combination of the male and female sexes into one single being. This is associated with the primordial state of the world, the prima materia. The common theme here is the putrefaction of the starting matter into the chaos of negretto, or black, or death. This is followed by further separating it into different parts, such as masculine and feminine, the phase called albedo, or yellowing. Finally, the parts are recombined into a whole, achieving the rebus. Rebus is associated with divinity and hermaphrodism. It is called the divine hermaphrodite. The rebus is a symbol of conjunction of opposites, and its key role is the fusing of body and spirit, left, right, air, fire, sun, and moon, where the suns corresponds to the male and the moon corresponds to female. The red king and white queen are also associated. Now, do you recall when I said this is what is chaos? A better word for this chaos is more like untapped potential. It's not like this chaos, everything is crazy. It's more like this material needs to be that which is acted upon because it has untapped potential. This is what the elements are. The elements are the broken down versions of the prima materia. Now, what are the four elements? Fire, water, air, and earth. understanding the alchemical symbols of these four elements is the key to understanding the alchemical process. This process is what they are using to transmute you into doing what they want you to do. A normal right side up triangle is the symbol for fire. The upside down triangle is the symbol for water. Combining these two symbols of fire and water gives you the Star of Remphan. Now, when we are working and drawing the Star of Remphan, we need to draw lines at the bottom of the triangle and the top of the triangle. The line across the top of the triangle gives us air, and the line along the bottom gives us earth. Notice how these are all opposites of one another. Fire is the opposite of water. Water is the opposite of fire. Air is the opposite of earth. Earth is the opposite of air. The alchemical process of these very symbols is the combination of their opposites. This gives us the hexagrammal star of Remphan itself. This is the basis of ritualistic alchemy. This is the turning of your attention into the prime material to get you to be under their spell, with the goal of turning you into the divine hermaphrodite. You ever wonder why the gender-bending, gender-neutral ideologies are so important and so captivating to them? This is why. This is it. They don't believe that when God created Earth, he created Adam, and from the rib of Adam, Eve was created. They believe that Adam was actually the Adam Kadmon. The Adam Kadmon is the first prime material man who was both man and woman all at once. This is why they push androgyny. This is what gender studies and genderism is. Okay, androgyny is the possession of both masculine and feminine characteristics, maybe expressed with regard to gender expression. You have your sex, which is what you're born with, and they have created a system through postmodernity where your gender expression is different than your sex. I can be a gender fluid individual who presents female while my sex is still male. This is the blending of these things. This is an alchemical transmutation to try to get the self of human back to the prima materia. That's what these people are trying to do. They believe your entirely nature that is even expressed in your genetic code, your X and Y chromosomes, is that which is fallen. That's what this is. People think that these celebrities and these musicians, kids all being transgender is this like attention thing. They want their kid to have attention and they're trying to invert everything. It's not an inversion. They are believing that they are returning to the prime material, right? That the blending of opposites is actually ascending them closer alchemically via the hermeneutic principles towards the prima materia. So, you know, this idea that these people are trying to invert things because they're evil, it's much more nefarious than that. These people don't know that they're evil. They are a part of a system that believes that humanity itself is plagued in its own creation. This is living under the assumption that God is wrong, that the creation is wrong, that these emanations of light that is the Kabbalistic tree of life is one in which it needs to be ascended to be reversed. And to reverse this via ascension is to return to that untapped prima materia. That's what they're trying to do. And they do it through these inverse ways. This inversion is not an inversion for the sake of destruction. It's an inversion for the sake of thinking it is ascending what humanity is, which in its nature is inherently fallen through creation itself. This is why babies are sacrificed. This is why kids are killed. They're a plague. Life itself is a curse. That is like what these people believe. The reason that the cube is the symbol is because the cube is that which brings order to the chaos. The cube is that which is the consolidation of this trash. That everything is trash, right? It gives form to the trash. You are trash. They believe you're trash. They fucking hate you. They hate you. They don't even want you dead. They want your existence to have never even been. It's beyond hate. These are things people don't understand. So when you're being subverted, it's not like, oh, they want to subvert you so you could go to hell. They don't even think that way, dude. They want your being to be not even a void. To be a void means there was material there in the first place. They want your essence to be. It's actually completely inconceivable. What would be better than you existing to them? It is inconceivable. Your mind, it actually completely transcends what your mind is able to comprehend. It is that which is uncomprehendable. It is beyond light and darkness. It's beyond all of that. So we have the symbols of the elements. We have their relation to things like the planets and how these things all tie together. Then we have music. Where does music come in? Music is that which harmonizes these things. Music brings these things together. Music is that which breathes life into the symbols. It's that which animates, right? When we think and we look back to scripture or, any of the original creation stories, they all have to do with God speaking the world into existence. This is an auditory thing. It is frequency. It is light. It is all of these things. You're speaking it. Music is that which harmonizes. This is how you synthesize the elements. This is how you mutate. This is how you transmute and you ultimately change. Coachella is the ultimate example of this. Coachella is the biggest bands, the biggest artists, the biggest performers, all in one place in a random desert, all together, where everyone's attention is. Everybody who likes music is paying attention to this one place at one time. Now with streaming, they're able to really captivate everybody. One of the ways they did this was with Justin Bieber and his super chill performance. Justin Bieber put on this show where basically it was very clever. What he did was he did karaoke of his own songs. He brought out a laptop. It was him and the laptop. They set the laptop down and he goes on YouTube and he does karaoke versions of his own songs. Well, the reason that he did this is because he doesn't own his own catalog anymore. He sold his catalog. This is one way to circumvent him having to pay to sing his own songs. It's a different kind of performance. It's karaoke. So he's going through and he's playing his own catalog. And what the audience is seeing is they are seeing their favorite artist chill. He's being chill, right? It's this parasocial interaction. They're watching their artist chill. They're in a session with him just like they're chilling on the couch. This heightens the parasociality. You feel like you're really in this intimate moment with this artist that these people have loved, that they've parasocially grown up with. He's showing memes. It's so fun. It's so funny, right? You become vulnerable. You let down your defenses. And that is when they come in and they will mutate whatever it is, right? For example, me personally, not very fond of Justin Bieber. Don't really care for Justin Bieber's music. I think it's sad that his childhood was probably robbed and that they probably raped him and all of these other crazy things that definitely happened to him. But I don't really like Justin Bieber. I saw this And I fell for it. I was like, oh man, he's cool. This is chill. This is like sick, right? This is what they want. They want to transmute me. They want to use my attention against me and to transmute me into being a believer. And guess what? Believe me, it basically happened, right? Until I thought about it a little more. So they're using all of these tools, all of these elements, all of these different parts of the material and the immaterial, right? And they're synthesizing them into this thing via this performance that Bieber is a part of. Bieber is the priest. Bieber is that which is putting all of these things together, the parasociality, the music, all of these things. He's synthesizing them in this particular way to manipulate the way that you feel about what it is that he's doing. So you either walk away from the performance thinking, man, that was chill, right? Or you see it online. Either way, your attention is engaged. Your mind has changed, just like mine was. And now I am a product of whatever it is they want me to believe. They wanted me to believe Justin Bieber was a chill guy. I believed that for a moment, okay? I have undergone an alchemical process, which the elements of myself have been changed. Now I am under their gaze. I have been given over to their spell work. But here's the thing. Now here's what they have to do. Now I think Justin Bieber is a chill guy. But guess what? Justin Bieber is an enemy of the industry. Why? Justin Bieber just put on a performance where he finessed probably hundreds of millions of dollars out of these people who own his catalog. They don't want me to think Justin Bieber is a chill guy, right? So Justin Bieber is now in control of his own destiny. They don't want that. Now there are people all over the planet who think Justin Bieber is chill. So what do? They insert a narrative. They insert a narrative in the comment sections of the performance, right? The comment sections is where the war begins, okay? This is a metaphysical, spiritual, alchemical war. It's not bullets, it's information, it's sides, it's ideologies. We are in the Aeon of Aquarius. Aquarius is an air sign. The air sign of Aquarius is pouring out water. Okay, air is masculine, water is feminine. Okay, just like we described earlier. So what does that mean? That means that the masculine is going to be in control of the feminine. The water bearer of Aquarius is pouring the water out. It is at the whims of the man, but because it is an air sign, it is done so in ethereal, passive ways. It's not earth. Okay, it's not hard, it's not material, it's airy. It's immaterial ways that are passive. Like watching Justin Bieber and seeing him and being like, man, that's cool, that's chill, right? But the war has to rage on. So the response is one that is fought against Bieber in a feminine way. Okay, so the comments in reaction to Bieber are saying, imagine if a woman did this. Men have it so easy, right? This is first of all, this is the spirit of Lilith. This is Lilith coming in and just tainting for no reason, right? If someone like me thinks a Justin Bieber performance is cool, it worked, okay? It worked. The rest of this episode is available over on my Patreon. There's another 30 minutes or so. This is the follow-up to the Sabrina Carpenter episode I just did. And then there's a part 3 that's going to be on Justin Bieber and involving alchemy and the alchemical process and the Aeon of Horus and Aleister Crowley. Crowley. I'll see you over on the Patreon.